moral question I ask myself is, why should Nigeria still even be bearing the name Nigeria?
After 100 years.
I question, that moral naming ceremony.
By a lady journalist who later married Lugard.
It's a ceremony where we had neighbors that came to name that child outside his parents. The parents were in the sitting room, and the neighbors are the ones doing the naming ceremony. You see, we Nigerians, we didn't have a stake in our nationhood. Way forward, in the short run, let the president wake up from his responsibilities, from his slumber, and attend to his responsibilities. Let him align with Nigerians. Let him chat with Nigerians, discuss with Nigerians. Tell us, let Nigerians feel the pulse of the government. Let us feel the pulse of the administration. Let us feel the pulse. We are not feeling the pulse. We have a situation where instead of the excess going into the hands of the youth to start something, you have the feeding of the president, accommodating 2 billion in our budget. Feeding of the vice president, the feeding allowance of the vice president, having 1 billion in our budget. What are they eating? Are they eating a whole cow? It amazes me. These are questions that are begging for answers. Genuine leaders don't pay to get to power.
That's instructive, sir.
Genuine leaders don't distribute rice and loaf of bread to get to power. Genuine leaders don't distribute Ankara and cloth to get to power. Genuine leaders don't share rice to get to power. Genuine leaders sell manifestos to get to power. A banker may not be able to initiate economic policies to drive home, a sustainable economy. So these are the things. In summary, you see, until we start learning how to get right people in right positions, we will always get it wrong. I, for one, and I must be frank, 2023 is coming again. We made a mistake in 2015. We repeated the same mistake in 2019. And here is 2023. Please, don't let us repeat the same mistake. Look, I get angry when your votes are being bought over by politicians. When you sell your vote because of 2,000 or 5,000 naira, that can barely take you a week, 2 weeks.
It's a spiritual insult.
Yes, the suffering is a 4-year suffering before you can even think of changing anything. So please, I think the onus is on we, the electorates, the citizens, to start getting it right. Please, don't let us monetize our conscience. Don't let us monetize our vote. You see that ballot? That ballot? I tell people say, you don't need to come out. They will rig. They will. I say it takes an election to be conducted in the first place for you to talk of rigging. If an election is not conducted, there is no way you can talk of rigging. You can't talk of results without writing an exam. There has to be an exam before you can talk of results.
Yeah.
So if you are saying they will rig, the truth of the matter is that let us come out first to do our own part.
Our own role.
Our own role. Look, when people don't come out to vote at all, when there is no winner, there is no loser, you can't talk of rigging. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
When there is no winner, there is no loser, there is no way you can talk of rigging. When we come out to do our statutory responsibility, our civic responsibility by voting, and monitoring our vote, and we voting right, my brother, I tell you, to change all this quagmire in this country, in less than 6 months, Nigeria will change. That simply brings me to, this clamor for, self-determination by regions.
Yeah, because I was looking at it too. In fact, before I go to 2023, I said, let me even come to the clamor. You look at the Yorubas now, they are saying we want our own nation. We have been marginalized. Our people are being killed by some Fulanis in our forest reserve. The other day, the governor of Ogun State said they should leave. And we have somebody like Chief Olusegun Aremu Ighoho now, who has come out as a non-state actor, fighting and going to bushes to push them out. We have the warfare in Ighoho, in Oyo State, in Ibarapa, where people being killed, allegedly being killed by Fulani, Bororo Fulanis and all that. We have issues in Imekoa from here, near here in Ogun State. We have a lot of series of issues in some of the farmland in Ogun State, in Oyo, up to Osun State. Even people are being kidnapped, killed, couples are being raped, even old women are being raped. There are a lot of things going on, and now the determination is that we need a Yoruba nation. But in between now, people are also afraid that if we say we need Yoruba nation, won't there be a tomorrow whereby we will say we need Ekiti nation, we need Egba nation, we need Igala nation, we need Okun nation, or we need what they call it, Ibadan nation. There's a lot of fears and subtle fears around. But do you think the agitation is genuine, and can we truly end it the way we are going about it?
You see, thank you, my brother. The agitation is honestly genuine. There is nothing criminal about calling for self-determination. There is nothing morally wrong. There is nothing ethically wrong in calling for self-determination. The United Kingdom has been negotiating for Brexit out of European Union.
For almost 2-3 years now.
Yes, and they've achieved it. The day USSR, Soviet Union, each region went its separate ways without shedding blood. And now we have Czech Republic, we have, a lot of
Ukraine,
Ukraine and
countries,
a lot of them now, and Russia. It's also on its own.
Czechoslovakia and all the rest.
Yes. Now there is nothing criminally, wrong with calling for self-determination. When a marriage is not working, it is absolutely within the ambit of the law to call for divorce.
Immediately?
To call for divorce when a marriage is not working. Marriage is a union of two people coming together. And when your union is no longer working, the natural thing to do is to reach a compromise, to reach an understanding. And the provision is there in law that if any of the parties are aggrieved and is irreconcilable, your differences are irreconcilable, you can go your separate ways by filing for divorce. Moreover, the moral question I ask myself is, why should Nigeria still even be bearing the name Nigeria?
After 100 years.
I question, that moral naming ceremony.
By a lady journalist who later married Lugard.
It's a ceremony where we had neighbors that came to name that child outside his parents. The parents were in the sitting room, and the neighbors are the ones doing the naming ceremony. You see, we Nigerians, we didn't have a stake in our nationhood. A girlfriend who woke up somewhere and wanted to satisfy his master, Flora Shaw, wanted to satisfy Lord Lugard.
Somewhere in the bedroom.
Said, let me just, help you and name this you know,
Congratulations.
people, you know, this jugular set of people. Let me just give them a name. And he gave us Nigeria since 1914, and we are burying Nigeria. And nobody could question the integrity of why must we be inside and an outsider called Flora Shaw coming to, you know, name our children, our baby. And the funny thing is, the baby is still crying. The baby Flora Shaw named in 1940 is still crawling. He's not walking yet. That tells you that there is a problem. Now, to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso was equally named, you know. They wanted to shave their hair, you know, in their absence. The Baba wanted to shave their hair in their absence. They were known then as Upper Volta. Upper Volta. But immediately Thomas Sankara came. What did he do? He said, no, you cannot shave a man. You cannot name a child, you know, outside the parents. I said, no. He threw it away and named it Burkina Faso. You know, the same thing, ditto for Ghana. You know, Flora Shaw's colleagues and Lord Lugar's colleagues, I said, okay, let me name this one here too, and also named Ghana Gold Coast. And Kwame Nkrumah also felt, no, how can you name us Gold Coast? What is Gold Coast? Gold and Coast, what does it? And he gave it, you know, their child, an appropriate name, Ghana. Have we ever even sat down to even ask Niger area? How can somebody call me, you know, Pangrove area or Lagos area?
Fade area.
Fade area.
Oyinbo area.
Surulere area. And I say, yes. It's crazy. You know, and since then, we've not been able to challenge it. Now, bringing us together, then, there was no unanimous, you know, agreement between the different hemispheres in Nigeria. You brought us under the same people of different diverse cultures, diverse languages, diverse religions, opinion, and so on. And you married us together forcefully. That compulsorily you must stay in that marriage. You can't divorce. And I ask, on what ground? When you say we can't divorce. Now, so if people are now coming, different groups are now coming to self-determine, I don't think it is wrong. But our political class and elites have so christened self-determination to mean, you know, to mean otherwise, to mean treason, you know, to mean you want to rebel against the unity of Nigeria. No! Even if you say rebel, there are times where a father gives an instruction to the child and says, oh, Daddy, I'm not doing it. And the father will not, because of that, kill that child. And when it is time for that child to get married and get his freedom, he gets his freedom. But in this case, Nigeria as a child, we keep living under the father for life. So, what the Yoruba nation are asking for, what the Igbos people are asking for, self-determination, really and honestly, we need not criminalize it.
Even the killing of this IPOB and all the rest is not even good.
You see,
the aggrandizement towards arresting Sunday Igboho is also not good.
I ask a question. On what moral ground is Sunday Igboho to be arrested? When all the Boko Haram, you know, members and Fulani headsmen are walking down the streets of Nigeria. Tell me one Fulani headsman that has been brought to book. One, if you can just name one, you know, that has been prosecuted. Here are people that are killing and maiming people, kidnapping people. We didn't proscribe them. And, you know, IPOB people that are asking for self-determination, we quickly went on air to proscribe them. Looking for Sunday Igboho to say he's heating up the polity. Which polity? The polity that Lord Lugard brought us together and they feel we are not compatible. You see, honestly, in as much as, yes, I know Nigeria could have thrived better as one nation. Yes, these were the dreams of our forefathers, like the Kwame Nkrumahs, that wanted to make Africa one country and named it Organization of African Unity. It's unfortunate how it is now. So if everybody is now calling for self-determination, I think reason should prevail. You know, reason should prevail.
But are you not afraid that in between the struggle, there is also some internal struggle? For instance, in Africa now, Ghana is saying Nigerians must leave. They must pay $1 million to actualize their business permits, and they are locking up shops. They say we are too egregious and all that. In Sierra Leone, they are trying to frustrate Nigerians out. They say they are too ambitious and all that. Then just the before yesterday, the Lado Curricular University that used to be jointly owned by Oyo and Osun State, I think is now considered to Oyo, and the people in Oyo are saying every lecturer, every member of staff that is from Osun should resign. When we are saying we want a Yoruba nation, how can the Yorubas asking for chasing Yoruba out of an institution? I mean, someone from Oyo is saying, "We from Osun, you have to go. We don't want you again." Just within ourselves. Some other times back in Abia State, where my former boss came from, a member of the civil service sector were even chasing people from Enugu, Anambra out of the civil service. There are a lot of compulsion among ourselves. It appears that we are consistently inconsistent. So do you think that the self-actualization project is genuine?
During the administration of Chief Olusegun Aremu, were there calls for this self-determination?
I don't think so, but there was restiveness.
No, if you see,
the OPCs were there.
Yes, if you say
the dual people who come here were there. They were also aggressive.
Yes, if you say there was used restiveness, yes, that is understandable. But there was no call for self-determination of any, tribe wanting to go its way. There was nothing of such during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. There was nothing of such during President Yar'Adua's administration. That brings to bear that the whole call of this agitation is simply the leadership. And I'm going to be straight about it. You see, when a leadership structure collapses, when a leadership structure tends to protect a certain region of the country more than the other regions, when a leadership structure tends to be, tends to have a religious sentiment and ethnic sentiment to a particular tribe, and the other tribes are feeling cheated, these are the outcomes. These are the outcomes. Now, people are crying that 90% of cabinet members in this administration are northerners. Other regions are feeling cheated. People are crying that no terrorist or Fulani headsman or Boko Haram has been brought to book, has been convicted. People will naturally feel cheated. People are crying that you are treating these terrorists with kid gloves and proscribing people that are calling for self-determination. People will naturally feel cheated. Hate will grow among the people. So when a leader, and that takes you back to Obasanjo, who did what is called national reconciliation, that threw up the Oputa panel, and every Nigerian that was aggrieved came, they begged themselves, hugged themselves, and we continued living as one Nigeria.
National healing process.
National healing process. Baba himself came there. He was there to talk his own.
Live and direct.
Live and direct.
When Babangida refused to come.
He was summoned by the head of the Oputa panel, Justice Chikudu for Oputa, and Baba himself was there. This is leadership by example, and he healed the nation's wounds. I am seeing a situation where if the president calls a national conference, calls all Nigerians to come and spill their grievances. Sorry, if that is what the president has to do. Igbos, yeah, come, you are my children. Sorry, what exactly do you want? Yorubas, you are my children. Come, what exactly do you want? Give each region what each region is asking for. If they say they want to do national, resource control, allow them to control the resources in their domain. Agitation will naturally go down. How many times I ask? There is no way you won't find apprehension in the polity. How many times has this administration come on air to do what is called presidential media chat, to communicate and intimate Nigerians on a monthly basis of government plans and programs?
The president promised, maybe because he was challenged health-wise, he promised that we're doing that monthly then.
Okay, if he couldn't do it, he had a minister of information. Why was the information minister not doing that?
Okay, you mean Alhaji Lai Mohammed?
Yes, why was he not doing that?
Maybe he was challenged to somehow.
Challenge how? If you think the challenge is overwhelming, why not resign? Something Chief Olusegun Obasanjo did for 8 years, uninterrupted. Chatting with Nigerians monthly on a presidential media chat. Discussing and where Nigerians will have to call in on a phone program, on a radio program.
To ask their president questions.
Ask their president questions. And the president was answering. these are, part of what is heating up the polity, where a president is distant from its citizens, where a president is not carrying along its citizens, where a president seems to be, diversionary, where a president seems to, be pacifying some sectors and some group, So naturally, the agitation will be there. The agitation will be there. The way forward for me, in the short run, let the president wake up from his responsibilities, from his slumber, and attend to his responsibilities. Let him align with Nigerians. Let him chat with Nigerians, discuss with Nigerians. Tell us, let Nigerians feel the pulse of the government. Let us feel the pulse of the administration. Let us feel the pulse. We are not feeling the pulse. Nigerians are not getting it. Now tell me, taxes were increased. Prices of food stuff was increased. Inflation got on the rise. What did government do as palliatives for Nigerians? I remember during Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the then Ministry of Finance, came up with some palliatives, bought some buses. When they wanted to increase pump price, they bought some buses in Abuja,
For transportation.
For transportation.
Free transportation.
Transportation.
Yeah, I remember that.
Increase the allocation of the Niger Delta. When the agitation was much, that they were the one supplying and increase the allocation. And, the agitation came down. During President Obasanjo, I remember President Obasanjo saying, on a live program, when somebody called, that, what program do you have for the Niger Delta? When Baba now referred that person that, go and meet your chiefs and your elders, that there is a certain allocation they get from the federal government. So if they don't perform, they should be held responsible.
And your governors.
And your governors should be held responsible.
I think I watched that program there.
He was the one that told us directly himself, not through, a subordinate, not through a minister or a special advisor. So Nigeria has been so unfortunate in the system it has found itself, and we pray that going forward in 2023, at least God will help us to get it right.
But before we even go to 2023, because I'm coming to ask you about the question of 2023, let's go back a bit to General Obasanjo's, or let me call him President Obasanjo or Chief Olusegun Obasanjo's time. There is this allegation then that Obasanjo also used his political power to empower some members of corporate Nigeria, like people like Alhaji Aliko Dangote, who was given, it appears that was given some monopolistic power. Then he was so powerful and so influential. People like the other man in Nigerian Brewery, I forgot his name now. Very funny man in Nigerian Brewery. All of them like that. And we also saw the drama of Mike Adenuga of Globalcom when the FCC staggered on him and they were investigating him over some alleged malpractices, fraud, and all that. There are a lot of things that happened during that era that people will say, oh, maybe President Obasanjo empowered some people and disempowered some people. Someone like Jimoh Ibrahim, who is very good at not paying staff salary, who has acquired a lot of positions that are not working, that are practically overtaken by lizards, cockroaches, and spiders, and all the rest. He empowered some people that didn't necessarily deserve the empowerment. But someone like Aliko Dangote is seen as a force that a lot of people are even saying that his business pattern is too monopolistic and even not too good, not too healthy for the common citizen, whereby you are buying cement at an outrageous amount, which is not at par. You are buying something for 3,000 plus or 4,000, and in somewhere like Uganda or Kenya, it's like 1,008. There are a lot of hanky-panky, and this man is so powerful. Even right now, he's going to oil and gas. So, will you say Obasanjo was also wrong, and he got it wrong in those areas?
Thank you. You see, I will answer that with a Bible analogy. The same God that pardoned David when David did the unthinkable. David committed the murder, took the person's wife, raped her.
Are you talking of Colonel Uriah?
I'm talking of
the Bathsheba scandal.
Bathsheba scandal, yes.
In the Bible.
But Solomon is a product of
that scandal.
That scandal. David assassinated, murdered Bathsheba's husband, forcefully took Bathsheba as a wife, and you know the whole story. The lineage of Jesus Christ came from there. 1/10 of the offense that David committed, Uzziah, or what's his name, who wanted to touch the Ark of Covenant to assist from the thing from falling.
He was struck dead.
What happened?
He died.
God struck him dead. God said, don't help me. And he struck him dead. So if we are to analyze, he hasn't committed any offense. Unlike David, who committed murder. Deliberately. Committed raped, murdered, assassinated, and he was spared. Where am I going? You see, I said something earlier that for every administration, you will find those who will benefit and those who will not benefit. I gave an example the other time. In the administration of General Yakubu Gowon and Murtala Muhammad, Chief MK Abiola benefited immensely. That it got to a time, Chief MK Abiola said that poverty will come, eat and eat and eat his wealth, and he will never go poor.
That Agbano can only eat and go.
Yes, that he
never be broken. His
to eat and go.
That's Mr. Poverty himself.
Exactly. He enjoyed government patronage. That was Chief MK. Unlimitedly. So you see, there are ways things go that naturally or by God's calling we can't contest. And let me quickly say something to all the young crop of guys Obasanjo tried to bring on board them. Well, the only thing I can tell the youth is, in as much as your government has failed you, because of a truth, the sustainability of any economy is largely on the youth. The viability of an economy, moving forward is largely on the youth.
But do you think the recent NSAS campaign was a good decision in the right campaign?
You see, it's very unfortunate that the NSAS ended the way it did. I personally, give kudos to the youth for coming up with the NSAS. The NSAS was just a metaphor to ending bad governance. It was just a metaphor to ending corruption. It was just a metaphor to enhancing, the welfare of our security agencies. But unfortunately, we saw how it was hijacked, how campaign of calumny came into it, and how the noble vision of those youths, were truncated. It's unfortunate. Now, the question is, has the lessons of the NSAS been learned and taken by people who are supposed to attend to the youth's agitations and requests? The answer is still no.
But the police are back to their business.
Any nation, any country that is to be taken seriously, that nation or that country needs to invest hugely in its youth. Look at this young man in America doing well for himself. This Facebook guy, Mark Zuckerberg. That guy is a youth doing fantastically well for himself. A lot of all these IT gurus in the United States are doing fantastically well for themselves. Why? Because their government is not only creating policies and enabling environments to make them thrive, their government is always at their beck and call, to make sure they are successful. Ditto for China. I've always asked myself a question. Why is it that China is dominating and moving from country to particularly third world countries? I now discover that the heavy investment the Chinese are doing in all countries is simply being backed by their government. Their government is giving them almost a interest loan. And that's why you see them invest hugely, in different sectors of different economies, different countries. Their government can give them a 10-year tax rebate, a 5-year, interest-free loan to invest. But a situation where to even get such loans in Nigeria is Herculean, and you will have to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. I mean, the jobs are not there. The enabling environment is not there. Electricity is not there. Even if you want to take up to barbing, you have to go and buy a small generator. You want to do cold room as a business, you will need generator. You want to do even all these watch football here, all these match centers, you will need generator.
Viewing centers,
as common as those things are. And these are little things the youths are occupying themselves with, engaging themselves with. But the enabling environment is not there in terms of electricity. We have a lot of youths who want to go into farming. But when you think of you possibly be kidnapped in your farm there, and you have to bring 100 million naira ransom, what will you do? Will you go to that farm? If you go to that farm, you have gone to your, slaughter slab to be slaughtered. So you jettison the farm. You jettison the cold room business. Where do you even want to get the capital for that cold room business? Let loose of electricity. So these are some of the challenges a lot of those youths are facing. And
if you look at the society now, sir, sorry to cut you as a product of a fantastic institution like Mayflower and a philosopher that is being baked in a wonderful institution like Olabisi Onabanjo University, you look at the youth today, you look at the cream of Ogogoro addicts, lotto business addicts. Youths just wake up from their houses in the morning, they launch themselves into a lotto shop, mataleni, or launch themselves into a Ogoro shop, they are drinking Ogoro Paraga and all the shekpes in the world. And you look at the Yahoo addicts too. They are even graduating from Yahoo business into Yahoo Plus. And you see them with their sleek cars, with their fantastic girlfriend. Even when you enter a shop right now, 40% of young people that are buying things are Yahoo boys. So how do you feel as a genuine, creative, innovative, and a very great youth?
Well, first of all, let's even thank those youths for being engaged in Lotto, and all this Bet Naija.
No, they're even smoking Igbo in their hand.
You see, they could decide to unleash their restlessness or restiveness on we the masses.
But they are doing that just a few years ago. All this area, young boys were carrying macheting shops.
Yes, they are doing that. Also a product of government's abnegation of its responsibility, to provide for the youth and make the environment enabling. But why I say we should even still thank those youths that are deriving hope from they will win one day in Bet Naija and Lotto, and it keep engaging them. If they all decide to leave Lotto and all those Bet Naija and start unleashing, on we the masses, we won't be able to sleep with our two eyes. I can put it to you that the total population of youth in this country outweighs and outnumbers, the adults, the elders. I can put it to you that from out of the 200 million population we have, the youth covers 70%. And out of that 70%, we still have 20-30% locked up in Bet Naija house and Lotto house, hoping that they will win day in, day out, engaging themselves there. They are busy there. If they decide to shift their attention that this is our business, let's face something more productive. Oh, kidnapping, now that kidnapping is so lucrative, let's begin to kidnap. And I'm sure you and I won't be here, because we would have seen one youth or two outside who will feel those people well dressed. They should have some little millions in their account. Let's kidnap them, and they make money and they start living life. Now, so what are we saying here? We are simply saying that, in as much as we are blaming some youths, of not preoccupying themselves with, things that can improve their lives, skills, and so on, we can't put the entire blame on them. Okay, I will give myself as an example. When I graduated, for years I wasn't having a job. When I graduated, I tried to lay my hands on this production of, this juice, all these apple juice, black currant, juice, orange juice. But I discovered that while trying to do that, I was wrestling with NAFDAC requirement. From NAFDAC, I was wrestling with Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON requirement. From there, I was wrestling with electricity. From there, I had to wrestle with generator, and so on. When I discovered that my neck was growing out of bounds, what did I do? I had to stop because I can't die before my time. So that's the same thing befalling majority of youths. I ask myself, look at a lot of youths in other countries. They are doing well for themselves. They are doing fantastically well for themselves. Even though in Nigeria here, we have some youths that are resolute and doing fantastically for themselves. But then, you are as good as your environment. You are a product of your environment. You cannot outshine your environment. You see, you cannot give what you don't have. You know, a youth who doesn't have money to invest cannot invest. A youth, you know, that has not been given an enabling environment to put up a business structure can simply not put up a business structure. It's not possible. You know, so that's why I said, you know, 80% of the blame stops at the bulk of the government. Let our government bring out policies. So that example, I keep telling people, you have the National Youth Service Corps. You don't have to go to university before you can go into NYSC. Come up with a policy that once you are 18 or 19 as a youth, you must compulsorily serve in the National Youth Service Corps. Increase the scheme from 1 year to about 2 or 3 years and be paying them the 30,000 minimum wage. You would have captured a large catchment of youth doing that. You know, it makes economic sense. And as a result, most of the youth that would have been roaming aimlessly would have been occupied by the NYSC at least for 2-3 years. When they finish the 2-3 years, throw them into farm, make the farm security conscious, make the farm secured, so that they know that after 3 years after the NYSC, they are going straight into farm. They will be happy, so they are engaged. Farming, agriculture is still the largest employer of labor. As soon as they finish their 3-year service, they go into what will employ them, what will occupy them, preoccupy them for life. So you would have sorted out youth restiveness. You know, that's the situation we find ourselves.
I'm surprised that you brought this excellent idea about NYC, that people don't need to graduate from school 1 or school 2 before they can go into NYC. They can enlist and serve the nation one way or the other, and from there they can be transported into some other profitable engagement.
Exactly. Look at Korea, you know, North Korea and South Korea.
We shouldn't talk about North Korea because that's a horrible state.
Yeah, you will naturally serve in the armed forces. Even the United Kingdom, the royals serve. You know, Prince Charles served as a Royal Navy or something. You know, Prince Williams served. Queen Elizabeth II, as a woman, as a lady, also served. You know, to engage, meaning that all these countries will look up to, you know, as developed countries, they have laudable programs for their youths. Why can't Nigeria develop so many? I've just given you an instance of what Nigeria can do to occupy, you know, the youth. Secondly, Nigeria can even decide to create a pool of funds, you know, a pool of funds to be accessed by the youth. Innovative youths, exactly. You don't have to give them this killing criteria of having CFO, having landed properties, having collateral that my great-grandfather didn't have. You know, put up a fund, invite them, let them come up through their, you know, invitation, through their interviews. You will know who has these laudable ideas, and you will know who and who can be accountable. You know, disburse these loans to them, attach a business development officer person to them, so that they won't squander or misuse the money meant for the business they want to use it for. And you will discover that in the United States, 70% of their economy is private driven.
Private business.
It's private sector driven. In the United Kingdom, 70% is private driven. Virgin Atlantic is private. Facebook is private. Amazon is private. Apple, iPhone makers is private. Microsoft is private. You know, Boeing, the plane manufacturer, is not government owned. It's private. Airbus, you know, it's private. So if we are private driven, it is the youth that can activate, you know, that can bring on board that change, that emancipation we are calling for, that struggle. You know, Nigerians have struggled too much that if I were God, I would have come down, you know, to intercede personally to intercede.
Just see these people.
Yes, to intercede on their behalf. But what do we get in return? We have a situation where instead of the excess going into the hands of the youth to start something, you have the feeding of the president, you know, accommodating 2 billion in our budget. Feeding of the vice president, you know, the feeding allowance of the vice president, having 1 billion in our budget. What are they eating? Are they eating a whole cow? You know, it amazes me. These are questions that are begging for answers. You know, you see, our senators telling you that we can't use a Corolla, you know, a 2019 Corolla model. It has to be 2020 or 2021 Corolla model, sold for 20-something million. And we have about 106 senators. Now, if you do a breakdown of the cost analysis of those 106 times 20-something million, 109, you know, senator, times 20 million. Let's even put the cost of those vehicles. In fact, let's put it at a cost of 10 million. 10 million times 109. We are talking of billions here.
A lot of money.
And yet we are saying our youths are roaming the streets.
Aimlessly.
Now, who is fooling who? All right? Who is fooling who? Now, when Mr. President, the other time Mr. President traveled, and Nigeria's Air Force One was parked for 6 months in the United Kingdom, and we are paying heavy damages in the hangar, you know, for a flight not working, just parked down. I mean, what sense do you make out of that? It absolutely makes no sense. You know, okay, what sense do you want to make of our president spending billions in the United Kingdom, you know, on medical tourism, where such money could have just been spent to develop University of Abuja? We are not saying out of the 36 states, develop all the teaching hospitals. Just pick one, Abuja, and develop. Okay, you don't want to develop Abuja, just develop the Aso Clinic. The Aso Rock Clinic. You know, I need to be waking up from my dream to see what's the name of this UK Prime Minister now, Boris Johnson, being flown down here to say he's ill, he's sick, and he needs to be treated in Nigeria. Or I see this American president being flown down here, Joe Biden, or Emmanuel Macron, to be flown down to Lasut, or Lut, or UCH in Ibadan, you know, to be treated. It's funny. I'm still waiting for Ramaphosa, even the South African president, our African colleague here, yes, to come down to Nigeria and say he wants to be treated at Lasut, Ikeja here. I'm waiting for that day. So and here is a situation where in Africa, Nigeria has the human capacity, we have the financial capacity, we have the land. Nigeria is about 923,000 square kilometers, if I'm not wrong. Yes, sir. We have the land mass, we have the marine, we have the water, we have the everything. And yet, Nigeria is ranked amongst the poorest nation in the world. You know, what an irony.
It appears everything is polo krumu shoes.
I ask myself, United Kingdom, what is their source of revenue? Basically administration, management, football, and maybe a couple of 1 or 2 companies that produce, is it Cadillac or what? And majorly tax.
Rolls Royce.
Oh, Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce is even an American company, if I'm correct. A couple of tax from all the Asian investors, Indian investors, American investors, African investors there. That's what UK eat primarily. And look at their sanity, there's administration. But in Nigeria, we make a lot of money, a hell of money from crude oil. And yet we pack all the money and throw back, into the lagoon. I mean, it's terrible. It's disheartening. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I remember there was a leader sometimes in this country, General Yakubu Gowon, if I'm correct, said, and I quote, that the problem of Nigeria is not to make money, but how to spend it.
He spend his money on the Dodger Award.
Now, if how to spend it has suddenly become how to make that money, who do we now hold responsible? If how to make the money is not the problem, but how to spend it. Now the problem is we even want to spend it. It's not available to be spent. The problem now is how to make the money. And yet we hear of several trillions of budget,
But do you think, what's the problem do you think is wrong with President Buhari's regime and his cabinet? Do you think there's something that is missing that...
There is an issue wrong with President Muhammadu Buhari because he's not taking the bulls by the horn. He's not performing his statutory duty responsibility as a president. His oversized duty as a president, he's shelving it. What caused government to downsize, to minimize government expenses? The cabinet is too large. Where do we have to have a minister and a minister of state? What is the minister and the minister of state coordinating that a director of the permanent secretary cannot do, of that ministry can't do? Let him prune down his cabinet. It is only in Nigeria where I will see a special advisor, special assistant having a special assistant. That I will be a special assistant to a special assistant. This is only in Nigeria. It is only in Nigeria I will see a special advisor also having special assistant. Special assistant 1, special assistant 2. You know, it's crazy. Now, and all these, they are on salaries. They get paid. It is only in Nigeria we have about 36 ministers. A minister coming from almost every state. Why can't a minister just come from a region? Have 3 ministers. Prune down on the 109 or 106 senators we have. Why can't we just have 20 senators or 30 senators or 36 senators? 1 senator to represent the state. Why can't we even have the senators and the House of Reps, you know, to do their function on a part-time basis? And just pay them on the basis of the number of sittings they have, they do. If you sit 3 or 4 times in a year, you are paid 3 or 4 times in a year. Where they go on vacation, a month vacation, 2 years vacation, their salary is still going on. Each senator has an office he or she runs. They have media aides. They have special assistants, special advisors. Their wives have special advisors. Their dogs are budgeted for. Cutlery allowance. You know, fork and knife allowance. Until we learn how to prune down expenses, you know, minimize the cost of governance, we are going nowhere. My brother, are you shocked that an ordinary House of Rep in Nigeria is any more than the United States president?
I'm totally embarrassed. When I was embarrassed.
You see, go through records. The remuneration, the salaries, the wages of their political actors in the United States and United Kingdom is published annually, published monthly, published, gazetted. You know, it is only in Nigeria you will hear where they say the salary of a governor is 600,000. You know, and his allowances and entitlement and security vote.
I was coming to that.
Is running into billions. The question I now ask myself, why do I have to secure that my heart from stopping or my kidney or intestine from functioning with 5, 10, 20, 30 billion if I don't have a skeleton in my cupboard? It is in this same country where we saw somebody like, you know, the late Obafemi Awolowo.
Yes,
that
sir.
will walk amongst crowd and people will hail, awo, 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 awo. People will almost kill themselves over him. Why? He was equally a human being. Now we are now using heavy gadgets and artillery and machine and all the machine guns in this world to secure ourselves. If you don't have skeleton in your cupboard.
Can you imagine?
I remember precisely the late Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso that stripped himself and his cabinet of all, you know, the juicy chocolate benefits attached to offices. He stripped and he gave a command to all ministers under him that if you must be a minister under me, you cannot but use more than a Volkswagen. You know, then we had head of states using 504 Peugeot.
Yeah, and so was the official car then.
Yes, and Benz.
Yes, and Mercedes-Benz.
Yes, our
Like Idi Amin were using Mercedes-Benz, our own were using Peugeot.
even gone far. Our own Murtala Muhammad in 1976 was using a fantastic Benz.
Yes.
Shehu Shagari was using a fantastic Benz.
Call it Shagari Benz.
Yes, where their colleague, you know, in Burkina Faso was using a Renault. Where their ministers were using Volkswagen. Prune down government expenses. And he lived a life worthy.
Close to the people.
Yes. And at least we can say, if you have to write on the annals of Africa, the name of Thomas Sankara will rank.
But recently, even Blaise Compaoré that executed him has been judged now. He's going to be taken to court and going to be guillotined.
You see?
Because history is repeated. It's now healing the past.
But what we now have in our own doorstep here, we have a situation where the president's daughter is entitled to a private jet and can fly the presidential jet you know, on an assignment, homework given to her in school. You know, it is in this Nigeria. And nobody's, you know.
In fact, the worst even happened this week, sir. The worst of the worst happened in Osun State this week. When we learned that the governor, one boy, what's his name, of Osun State, appointed the son of the former chairman, Baba Konde, the son, that is one Mr. You know, what's his name? Femi Akonde is the commissioner for justice, and this governor made his wife, that is one Mrs. Yeside Oyinkansola, to become personal assistant to the husband in Ministry of Justice. I've never seen it in my life.
I have seen it in my life.
But I've never seen it.
I saw it.
How, sir?
It is in this same Nigeria. We saw the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, made his wife senator, the first term, second term, third term. Well, this is not new. You see, we have seen it before.
So you are saying that you are saying that you have seen it, that Tinubu has made his wife go first time, second time, third time.
Precisely, the former Lagos State governor, who was governor of Lagos State 2 times, his wife is currently still a senator.
Third time.
On third term, senator. You know, somebody who accused Anashafa to step down for not going for third term, his wife is a senator.
So are you now?
See, what we are trying to say is that, you see, it is not Oyetola's case we will see.
Because that one happens since 2020 and the secret just leaked out. I mean, how can you make a wife to become the personal assistant to the husband? And the husband we are talking about is the son of former chairman of APC, that is Chief Akonde, the man that is always laughing, the former governor of Ogun State, whose deputy was Omi Shore, the man that is always laughing, just like Benga Daniel of Ogun State before.
In the same vein, how can you make the daughter of a former Lagos State governor the Olojana General of Nigeria? What is her pedigree when it comes to market? How many years has she spent as a market woman? Well, you see, she's now the Iyaloja General of Nigeria. Iyaloja General of Nigeria in charge of Computer Village Market, in charge of Alaba International Market. What is her pedigree in market experience? How many years has she spent as a market woman? You know, that's a daughter. A wife being a senator, you know, the first term, second term, third term. And we are also hearing that the head of the clan himself wants to be president in 2023. You see, I don't know why greed has eaten deep into the fabrics of our leaders. I look at Nelson Mandela, who could have decided to make his wife a president or a vice president. Nelson Mandela, who was the president and the chairman of the ANC party, could have made his wife the Senate president in South Africa.
Despite suffering for democracy, 27 years. 27 years in jail.
Despite having been incommunicado, incarcerated for 27 good years. When the man came out from prison, his vital part of life has been spent in custody. He came out as an old man, be the president for just about 4 or 5 years, and he voluntarily relinquished. You know, but the difference is the case in our own sphere here. Well, the whole thing is on us, we Nigerians.
On we the mass Nigerians.
Yes. If we want it to continue, it is left to us. If we want us to have an absolute change, it's left to us. But one thing I know is that you cannot monopolize power. You know, one day power will change. Power belongs to God. You know, there was a time Idi Amin was not only the president of Uganda, he even gave himself an absolute title of the lords of the birds of the air.
He was a life emperor.
Life emperor and the lords of the birds of the air and the fishes of the sea of the ocean. Where is Idi Amin today?
He was even the conqueror of the British Empire.
He claimed to be the conqueror of the British Empire. Where is the same Idi Amin today?
Because he said the Black Hitler.
Where is he today?
6 feet, sir.
Apart from 6 feet. He was flushed out. He was flushed out from that office. He took a helicopter and ran away.
No, he said, I'm going to Gulu. I'm going to Gulu.
Where is he?
He first ran to Libya. Then when he couldn't stay there, he ran to Saudi Arabia and just died in August 2003 of kidney failure.
You see? So that
he died of kidney failure.
That tells you that power is transient. You are a president today, you are opportuned. You are a governor today, you are opportuned. Emancipate lives, change lives, affect lives. Don't until we start discarding the idea that I am the governor, my wife must be a senator. My child must inherit me as a governor. My daughter must be in charge of all the market in Nigeria. My child must be in charge of all the toll gates in Nigeria. Until we jettison this aggrandizing nature, this selfish nature, we won't go anywhere as a nation. So the message is clear. Let Nigerians be sensitive towards 2023. Let Nigerians be politically conscious. Let them be aware politically. Let them be aware socially. You see, I remember, I keep making reference to the late Fela Nicola Kuti. Fela belonged to an elite class, if you have to put it that way.
Yes, of course.
We know the antecedents of his mother, the antecedents of his father.
The Ransom Kuti.
The Ransom Kuti.
Of a balance.
Yes.
His mother being the first African woman to drive a car.
Exactly. And we also know the pedigree of his father.
He was a prophet, he was a teacher, and it was a clergy as well.
Yes. You see, where am I going? Fela had all the paraphernalia to not only play and wine and dine with the political, class and the political elites that be, but he chose, to go on the path of the masses. It wasn't as if he was poor. He even set up a political party, Movement of the People, MOP. And his party was based on maybe apprehension that if Fela should become the president, things may not be easy on the political class. His party was not registered by the then electoral committee at that time. So where am I going? Until we begin to have leaders that are self-centered, leaders that are not self-centered, rather, leaders that are mindful of the people, leaders that are politically and socially conscious, leaders that know their onions, leaders that know that leadership is a divine calling.
Sir, let me ask you, sir, I'm sorry to have caught you. What about leaders who are now busy sharing bag of rice, starting from Kano to Lagos? We've seen leaders, when election comes, they share 4 yards of Ankara, some little packet of Indomie, Gary, with their pictures on it. Even during the crisis we had at that time, during the coronavirus lockdown, we had Speaker of Lagos State who shared 1 loaf of bread for 4 members of the family with his picture boldly inscribed on it. We have leaders who go from house to house sharing rice just for election, 1,000, 2,000 during the election. People like Lady Kane, some other places in Ogba, sharing to 200 naira and rice inside. Leaders that share rice for people to eat, rice for people to go and cook at home. F1 Indomie, F1 Jerica Meji, F1 bag rice, F1 Okpasho, 2,000, 1,000 for 4 years, sir. Are they not genuine leaders too, sir?
That with you see, genuine leaders don't pay to get to power.
That's instructive, sir.
Genuine leaders don't distribute rice and loaf of bread to get to power. Genuine leaders don't distribute Ankara and cloth to get to power. Genuine leaders don't share rice to get to power. Genuine leaders sell manifestos to get to power. Genuine leaders sell plans and programs to get to power. Genuine leaders sell ingenuity to get to power. Genuine leaders sell sincerity to get to power. Now, where am I driving at? You see, it is we, the electorate, that is encouraging them. I say that without apology. And of course, you won't blame the electorate much, because when poverty has eaten deep into somebody's bloodstream, he will want to keep afloat. The survival instinct will naturally set in. Somebody who has 4 or 5 kids has not eaten for days, and you approach such a person, giving him 1,000, 2,000 with a derica of rice to sell his conscience, my brother, he will sell that conscience.
Just like that?
Just like that. He will sell that conscience. This is survival instinct. He's been driven by survival. But then, you see, he wants to feed in the short run. But what he has failed to consider or recognize is the long-term effect, the long run. When you sell your conscience now for just 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, will that 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira take you for another 1 month or 2 weeks? Will that 2,000 naira take you for the next 4 years of that hard journey, of that bad leaders you have voted in?
I'm very embarrassed.
I mean, these are the problems. So our leaders have capitalized on the vulnerability of our people. That our people are poor, our people are helpless, our people are hopeless. Therefore, just throw a coin at them, throw banana at them. They hang it. They hang to it like a dying monkey. That's the situation we find ourselves. So, but going forward, we the onus is on us to let's come together. Let's begin to go from doorstep to doorstep, from house to house, from lane to lane. That please, that's 2,000 naira that politician is giving you. That 500 naira, that Congo of bag that politician is giving you cannot take you anywhere. Please maintain, be hungry now and be sure that your future is bright. Be hungry now and be sure that next month, in next 4 years, you are okay. Be hungry now to be sure that your child won't be hungry. Be hungry now to be sure that your child will get accommodation. Your child will get a job. Let's sacrifice. Let's stop collecting all these goodies from these politicians. We are the one encouraging them. Look, if there is no taker of bribe, there won't be giver of bribe. I mean, if I offer you bribe and you refuse to take it, my bribe will be put back in my pocket. It is when there is a taker of bribe, you still have a giver of bribe.
So the taker economy influences the giver economy.
The taker that is encouraging the giver. If we stop taking their bribes, we stop taking their loaves of bread and their rice, they will put it back in their pocket.
And their akara 4 yards.
Look, my brother. You see, the irony of the thing is that Ankara they will give you, you can't wear it for 4 years before it fades off. Before it tears off. You see, these people are capitalizing on the vulnerability, on the ignorance, and I won't blame our people when there are no jobs, when our people are not engaged, when poverty has eaten deep into their intestine. So our politicians are actually capitalizing on these loopholes, to work on the psychic of our people. I can't imagine a situation where anybody who is 18 and above, and the government has a program that, okay, once you are 18 and there is no job, in the interim be collecting 10,000 naira, as a monthly allowance, or 20,000 naira as a monthly allowance till you get a job or till you are posted to a farm or for National Youth Service. I mean, who will lure you with 500 naira that will make sense? If you are lured with 500 naira or 1,000 naira, that means you are greedy on your own self. You are greedy yourself. I tell you that if a lot of Nigerians are engaged, have something doing, they have money to spend, they have food on their table, they won't cringe at the doorstep of these politicians just throwing loaves of bread at them. To me, I find it insulting. I can't imagine a politician telling me that take this 5,000 naira to vote for me, where I know in actual fact that 5,000 naira is a buyout, of my vote for the next 4 years. So whatever I get in the next 4 years, I have no right to complain because I've willingly sold my vote for 5,000 naira. The case is just like that of Esau and Jacob. In
the Bible.
In the Bible, Esau that sold his birthright, for a portion of porridge. I mean,
and he regret forever.
And he regretted it. And unfortunately, before he could realize what was going on, it was too late. And the blessing went over to Jacob. So in the same vein, we Nigerians should stop selling our birthright for a loaf of bread, for a loaf of porridge.
We should start selling our votes.
Let us stop selling our vote. Please, every youth that does not have a voter's card, please go and get registered. Your voter's card is your power. Look, one thing that pisses me off, on election day I see a lot of youths we'll block the major roads and we start playing football. You know, we'll sit at home and be monitoring the election on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, you know, on Twitter, where the real actors and participants are out there doing the voting. Our elderly are out there doing the voting, and the youth that have this population, you know, to their strength, are on Facebook and Instagram inside their parents' comfort and blocking streets and playing football. You know, so how can we get the right people to be on board? That is one. Two, I also tell people that please let all learned people also participate in the electoral process. You see, it is enough, it is high time we stopped giving all the political space for these vagabonds. You know, I look at America, for example. I have taken time to look at present and past presidents of America. Even the United Kingdom, on the average, their presidents are always learned. When I say learned, you don't have to have a PhD. No, that's not what you are talking of. You don't have to be a chartered accountant, you know, have all the masters of these worlds. No, that's not what we are talking of. We are simply saying that basic academic foundation that will give your thinking horizon, that will make it robust, so that when they place an economic graph, you know, to you, you'll be able to interpret. When you see an economic graph going up, you know, an economic graph going down, you know. When all these things, when a policy of a ministry is being put in a bar chart form and placed at your table, you should be able to decipher and, you know, interpret. But when we now leave all the, you know, when we leave the scene to all these hoodlums and vagabonds, and we don't participate, and we keep saying, yeah, I don't want them, you know, Nigerian politics is so bloody, Nigerian politics is so, you know, it's so dirty, and we leave that dirty game for those hoodlums to play. Of course they will be giving us dirty policies, and whatever dirty policies we are given, we should be ready to abide with it. I tell people that politics is not dirty. It is the people that are playing it that are dirty. Is it not politics they are playing in the United States? Is it not politics they are playing in the United Kingdom? Is it not politics they are playing in Canada, Australia? Even in South Africa here and Ghana, is it not politics they are playing?
It's politics, sir.
And people study political science in university. So why are we now defining politics in the context of being dirty? I always tell people that it's a fallacy, it's a farce, saying Nigerian politics is dirty. No, Nigerian politics is not dirty. It is the actors that are playing it dirty. And it is until we'll have people that can come and play by the balls, by the rules of the game, we will keep having all what we are getting. So let our learned people, let graduates come on board, let intellectuals come on board, let intellectuals, people of sound mind and sound character, let them come on board and let them take over the stage. Look, I tell you, let me tell you one truth. Do you know that these hoodlums taking over the centers, they are so timid that when you howl at them, they are always afraid. But because they are always having all these political godfathers at their beck and call, having them as their bedrock, that's what gives them, you know, that courage to go ahead and do whatever they intend doing. But a situation where the political environment is sanitized, the political environment is played by civil actors, I mean, who have it good. Nigeria was not this bad in the 60s. Nigeria was not this bad when the Obafemi Awolowo's and the Ahmadu Bello's and the Tafawa Balewa's and the Zigs were playing the politics. It wasn't this bad. Even when they were playing the politics in 1983, when we had the first executive, you know, the first republic, I mean the second republic, the Shagari, it wasn't this bad, you know. But in fact, I still remember that the politics was not this bad till 1999, Olusegun Obasanjo's administration, because I can remember vividly that Chief Olusegun was an opposition, an AD, and he was a minister, a cabinet minister to Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the Attorney General of the Federation. I mean, politics of general inclusion. You know,
politics of general inclusion.
Politics of general inclusion. At least we witnessed where an opposition, an alliance for democracy of Chief Olusegun was made a minister by Chief Olusegun Aremu who was a PDP candidate. So until we begin to play politics of general inclusion, until refined Nigerians, the educated Nigerians, begin to take center stage. Yes, an active stage in the polity, in the system, we will always be having what we are having.